The ESS Phoenix gleamed against the backdrop of distant stars, its quantum-enhanced hull catching the light of a distant sun. Commander Reyna Patel stood at the bridge's observation window, her dark eyes reflecting the infinite expanse before her. After 15 years of development, humanity's greatest achievement in space travel was about to prove itself. Quantum core stable at 98.6%, reported Chief Engineer Kai Nakamura from his station. His weathered hands moved across the holographic controls with practiced precision. At 58, he was the oldest crew member aboard, having dedicated the last decade of his life to perfecting the Phoenix's revolutionary drive system. Lieutenant Sofia Torres, their navigation specialist, looked up from her calculations. Course plotted for the Proxima Centauri checkpoint, Commander. We're ready for our first quantum jump. The bridge crew of 20 worked with quiet efficiency, each aware of the historic nature of their mission. The Phoenix might appear modest compared to theoretical alien vessels, but its revolutionary quantum displacement system made it humanity's secret weapon in the cosmic arena. All stations, status report, Reyna commanded, her voice steady despite the anticipation building in her chest. Weapons systems nominal, reported Security Chief Viktor Petrov, his massive frame hunched over his compact station. Life support optimal, added Dr. Amara Okafor, the ship's chief medical officer and environmental systems specialist. Reyna allowed herself a small smile. Earth's space program had faced ridicule from skeptics who claimed a ship this size could never achieve meaningful deep space travel. They were about to prove them wrong. Initiating quantum drive in 3, 2. Kai began the countdown, but a sharp alert cut him off. Multiple signatures. Victor's voice carried an edge of urgency. Massive objects emerging from. Commander, these readings can't be right. Space itself seemed to ripple before the Phoenix, like heat waves over hot pavement. Massive shapes emerged from the distortion, ships that dwarfed the Phoenix like whales next to a minnow. Their hulls were covered in patterns that seemed to shift and move, defying human perception. Incoming transmission, Sophia reported, her fingers dancing across her console. They're broadcasting on all frequencies. On screen, Reyna ordered, straightening her uniform. The main display flickered to life, revealing a being that seemed to be made of living crystal and shadow. Its voice resonated directly in their minds, a translation matrix converting its thoughts to English. I am High Admiral Zorax of the Drachnid Empire. Your vessel has entered space under our protection. Identify yourselves, primitive ones. Reyna stepped forward, her voice clear and unwavering. I am Commander Reyna Patel of the Earth space ship Phoenix. We are on a peaceful mission of exploration. A sound like breaking glass filled their minds, Drachnid laughter. Exploration. In that? Zorax's crystalline form shifted in what might have been amusement. Your species ventures into deep space in a vessel smaller than our scout ships. Either very brave or very foolish. We find our technology suitable for our needs, Reyna replied diplomatically. Your technology is centuries behind acceptable standards for spacefaring races, Zorax declared. Our scans show primitive fusion drives, basic shield systems. You haven't even mastered basic matter transmission. For your own safety, and the safety of the civilized galaxy, we cannot allow such an underdeveloped species to wander freely. The massive Drachnid ships began to move, surrounding the Phoenix in a precise formation. Their hull patterns pulsed with energy that made the human ship sensors scream in protest. You have 2 of your Earth days to accept our terms, Zorax continued. The Drachnid Empire will assume protective custody of your world. We will guide your development, ensure you don't harm yourselves or others with your primitive attempts at space travel. Refuse, and we will be forced to take more direct action. The transmission cut off, leaving the bridge in tense silence. Reyna turned to her crew, seeing determination rather than fear in their eyes. They all knew what was hidden beneath the Phoenix's modest exterior, technology that could rewrite the rules of space travel. Send a message to Earth Command, she ordered Sophia. Tell them we have first contact with an advanced civilization. And Kai? She turned to her engineer with a slight smile. Begin preparations for demonstrating exactly how primitive we aren't. The Phoenix hung in space, seemingly insignificant against the massive Drachnid fleet. But size, as humanity was about to prove, wasn't everything. The United Earth Defense Council chamber hummed with tense voices as holographic displays showed the Phoenix dwarfed by the Drachnid fleet. Admiral James Rodriguez stood before the assembled leaders, his weathered face illuminated by the projections. The Drachnids have positioned warships throughout our solar system, he reported, gesturing to the tactical display. Their technology appears to be centuries beyond our conventional capabilities. Conventional being the key word, interrupted Dr. Lyra Patel, mother of Commander Reyna and lead scientist of the Quantum Displacement Project. Her silver hair was pulled back severely, her eyes sharp behind rimless glasses. The Phoenix carries technology they cannot detect, much less understand. In deep space, the Phoenix maintained its position while the crew worked furiously. Chief Engineer Kai had his team running complex simulations in the engine room, testing the limits of their quantum system. The beauty of our drive, Kai explained to Commander Reyna as they reviewed the data, is that it doesn't brute force its way through space like their massive engines. We find the quantum threads that connect all points in spacetime and simply step through them. Like finding shortcuts through the fabric of the universe, Sophia added from her station, where she was mapping quantum pathways through the Drachnid fleet. Dr. Amara Okafor approached with a medical tablet in hand. The Drachnid biosigns are fascinating. Their crystalline biology suggests their entire approach to technology would be fundamentally different from ours. They may not even be able to conceive of how our quantum drive works. Back on Earth, the Defense Council chamber had erupted into debate. Some nations pushed for accepting the Drachnid's terms, arguing that resistance was futile. Others demanded immediate military action, despite the technological gap. We didn't spend 15 years developing the quantum drive to surrender it to alien overlords, Dr. Patel's voice cut through the chaos. The Phoenix isn't alone. The quantum displacement system has been successfully miniaturized. The room fell silent as she activated another hologram. Hidden facilities around Earth showed more ships under construction, each equipped with the revolutionary drive. The Drachnids see size as power, she continued. They build bigger ships, bigger weapons, bigger engines. But humanity's greatest achievements have often come from thinking smaller. Microprocessors. Nanotechnology. And now, quantum displacement. On the Phoenix, Commander Reyna received the transmission from Earth Command, full authorization to demonstrate their capabilities. She gathered her senior staff to outline the plan. The Drachnids expect us to either surrender or attempt some futile gesture of defiance, she explained, standing before the tactical display. Their entire strategy relies on overwhelming force and size. We're going to show them why that's a mistake. Security Chief Victor raised an eyebrow. They have enough firepower to vaporize a small moon. Can't hit what they can't catch, Kai grinned, pulling up the quantum drive diagnostics. We've mapped every quantum thread in this sector. We can move faster than their targeting systems can process. Sophia's fingers flew over her console, plotting multiple jump points. I've identified weak points in their formation. Their ships are so large they create significant gravitational distortions. We can use those to multiply our jump capabilities. What about their shields? Victor asked, ever focused on defensive considerations. Dr. Amara brought up her analysis of the Drachnid ships. Their shield technology is impressive but rigid. They rely on raw power rather than adaptability. A precisely calculated quantum jump could bypass them entirely. Commander Reyna studied the data flowing across the screens. The next few hours would determine not just the fate of the Phoenix, but of Earth itself. The Drachnids believed they were dealing with a primitive species playing with toys. They were about to learn how dangerous it was to underestimate human ingenuity. "Begin preparations," she ordered. "Kai, I want the quantum drive at maximum efficiency." "Sophia, calculate every possible jump point around their fleet." "Victor, analyze their weapons systems for response times." "Dr. Amara, keep monitoring their biosigns for any hint they've detected our true capabilities." As her crew rushed to their tasks, Reyna sent a message to the Drachnid flagship. "Hi Admiral Zorax, we have considered your offer. We request a demonstration meeting to discuss terms. Allow us to approach your command ship." The response was immediate and dripped with condescension. "Approach slowly, primitive vessel. Any sudden movements will be considered hostile action." Reyna allowed herself a small smile. "Understood, Admiral. We wouldn't dream of doing anything sudden." The Phoenix's conventional engines glowed softly as it began moving toward the massive Drachnid command ship. To all appearances, it was a tiny, insignificant vessel accepting its fate. But beneath its hull, quantum energies began to build, preparing to show the galaxy that sometimes the smallest vessels could create the biggest waves. The Phoenix approached the Drachnid command ship with deliberate slowness, its conventional engines pulsing softly. Through the bridge viewport, the alien vessel's true scale became apparent, its hull stretching for kilometers, covered in shifting crystalline patterns that seemed to absorb starlight. "Quantum core at full capacity," Kai reported quietly, his hands hovering over the controls. "Ready on your mark." Commander Reyna watched the distance counter tick down. "Sophia, are all jump points plotted?" 15 primary points, 32 secondary, Sophia confirmed. "Each one calculated to maximize their shock value." The massive form of High Admiral Zorax appeared on their screen, crystal fragments shifting in what they'd learned to recognize as smugness. "Your approach is acceptable, primitive ones. Prepare for docking and integration into the Drachnid protection fleet." "Actually, Admiral," Reyna replied, allowing herself a small smile, "we have a counterproposal." Before Zorax could respond, Reyna nodded to Kai. "Now." The Phoenix vanished. Not with the flashy special effects the Drachnids used, no space distortion, no energy wake. One moment the ship was there, the next it simply wasn't. It reappeared directly above the Drachnid command ship. Vanished again. Reappeared beneath it. Vanished. Port side. Vanished. Starboard side. Each jump took less than a second. To the Drachnid sensors, it would appear as if the small Earth vessel was teleporting instantaneously around their massive ship. Impossible. Zorax's mental voice boomed across their communications. No ship that size can possess matter transmission technology. "You're right," Reyna replied calmly as the Phoenix continued its dance. "We don't use matter transmission. That would be, as you said, primitive." The Drachnid fleet began to react, massive weapons arrays tracking to target the Phoenix. But Sophia's calculations proved perfect. Each time they locked on, the ship was already gone, appearing somewhere else. "Their targeting systems are going haywire," Victor reported with a grin. "They can't adapt to our jump speed." Dr. Amara studied her readings. "The crystalline crew members are showing signs of extreme agitation. Their biological rhythms can't process what they're seeing." Reyna opened a channel to the entire Drachnid fleet. "Perhaps now would be a good time to discuss terms as equals." "This is some trick." Zorax raged. "No species at your development level could achieve such movement." The massive Drachnid ships began to move, attempting to form a tighter blockade. "Phase 2, Reyna commanded. Kai's fingers danced across his console. The quantum drive hummed with power, but now instead of single jumps, they began executing Sophia's more complex patterns. The Phoenix appeared to split into 3 vessels, an illusion created by jumping so rapidly between positions that it left afterimages in the Drachnid sensors. Each copy moved independently, weaving between the massive alien ships with impossible precision. Their sensors are completely confused, Victor announced. They can't tell which image is real. Because they're all real, from a quantum perspective, Kai explained, his voice strained with concentration. We're actually occupying multiple quantum states simultaneously. The Drachnid fleet's formation began to break as ships maneuvered to track the Phantom Phoenixes. Their massive size worked against them, each course correction was slow, deliberate, while the Earth ship danced between them like a sparrow among eagles. Detecting energy buildup, Victor warned. They're preparing to fire. Perfect timing for Phase 3, Reyna said. Kai, execute quantum thread visualization. This was the riskiest part of their plan, pushing their drive technology to its limits. The Phoenix began jumping in microsecond bursts, but now with each jump, it left behind a visible trail of quantum energy, drawing glowing lines in space between jump points. To the watching Drachnid fleet, it appeared as if the tiny human vessel was literally drawing in space, creating complex geometric patterns that wrapped around their ships like a glowing web. The quantum threads are stable, Kai reported, sweat beading on his forehead. Ready for final sequence. Reyna opened all channels again. Admiral Zorax, your ships are now surrounded by a quantum navigation matrix of our design. With one command, we can use these threads to initiate a mass quantum displacement. Would you like to see what happens when we teleport a cubic kilometer of space about 50 light-years to the left? The threat was a bluff, their drive couldn't actually move that much mass. But the Drachnids had just watched them perform what their science said was impossible. Could they be certain this was impossible too? Silence filled the communications channel. On Dr. Amara's monitors, the Drachnid biosigns showed patterns consistent with extreme stress. Finally, Zorax's voice came through, lacking its earlier condescension. Perhaps, we should reconsider our approach to Earth's status in the galaxy. I think that would be wise, Reyna agreed. The Phoenix can demonstrate more of its capabilities if you need further convincing. That will not be necessary, Zorax replied quickly. We will withdraw to discuss new terms. But know this, you have altered the balance of power in this sector. Others will come, seeking this technology. Then they'll discover what you have, Admiral, Reyna said firmly. Humanity is ready for the galaxy. Whether the galaxy is ready for us, that's another question. The quantum threads faded as the Phoenix took up a position facing the Drachnid fleet. Behind them, Earth waited for news of the encounter that would change its future forever. News of the Phoenix's encounter spread through the galaxy at faster-than-light speeds. In the following days, the Drachnid Empire found itself in an unprecedented position, having to explain how a primitive species had outmaneuvered their most advanced fleet. The Phoenix maintained its position at the edge of Earth's solar system, now joined by 3 more ships of similar size, the Artemis, the Helios, and the Aurora. Each vessel carried the same quantum displacement technology, proving that the Phoenix was no fluke. Commander Reyna stood in a holographic conference room generated within the Phoenix, facing not just High Admiral Zorax but representatives from 5 other major galactic powers. Their forms flickered in various shapes and sizes, some humanoid, others completely alien. The demonstration was impressive, admitted Ambassador Tall of the Meridian Collective, their energy form pulsing with curiosity. But surely you understand our concerns. Quantum displacement technology at this scale should be impossible. Many things humanity has achieved were once thought impossible, Reyna replied. We've learned to stop letting others define our limitations. Chief Engineer Kai worked at a nearby console, monitoring the quantum signatures of their visitors. Each alien race had insisted on sending their own ships to verify the Phoenix's capabilities. Now those massive vessels hung in space around Earth's small fleet like giants watching children play. The human approach is unique, Zorax admitted, his crystalline form shifting uncomfortably. They don't force their way through spacetime as we do. They finesse it. Dr. Amara's research had revealed why the Drachnids and other advanced races hadn't developed similar technology. Their civilizations had evolved focusing on power and scale, building ever larger engines and energy systems. None had considered that the key to quantum displacement lay in precision rather than power. We're prepared to share certain aspects of our technology, Reyna continued, in exchange for fair recognition and treatment of Earth as an equal member of the galactic community. The alien representatives stirred at this. The Drachnid Empire had maintained its dominance partly by controlling the flow of advanced technology to younger races. Earth was proposing to bypass this system entirely. Your species is still young, rumbled the Vextar delegate, their massive insectoid form dwarfing the others even in hologram. You lack the experience to dash. To what? Interrupted Security Chief Victor from his station. To navigate quantum space. To develop technology that your scientists claimed was impossible. To defend ourselves against those who would call us primitive. Sophia, monitoring communications from her post, noted a surge of encrypted transmissions between the alien vessels. They're discussing something privately, Commander, she reported. Multiple frequencies, highly encrypted. Reyna waited patiently as the alien representatives conferred. She knew Earth's demonstration had forced them to confront uncomfortable truths about their assumptions of technological superiority. Finally, Ambassador Tal spoke. We propose a compromise. Earth will be granted provisional status in the Galactic Council. You will share your quantum displacement principles with a joint scientific commission, and in return, we will share certain advanced technologies with your species. Provisional status is not equality, Reyna pointed out. No, Zorax agreed, surprising everyone. But it is a beginning. You have proven that size and age do not always equate to advancement. Perhaps we have something to learn from Earth as well. Through the Phoenix's viewport, Reyna could see Earth shining like a blue jewel. Decades ago, humans had looked up at the stars and dreamed of proving themselves among them. Now they had done more than that, they had forced the galaxy to reevaluate its entire understanding of technological progress. Very well, she said. We accept provisional status, with one condition. Earth maintains independent control of its quantum displacement research and development. The alien representatives shifted uncomfortably but agreed. They had seen enough to know that humanity couldn't be simply commanded or controlled. As the holograms faded, Kai approached Reyna with a tablet. Commander, you should see this. We're detecting quantum signatures from multiple points around Earth. The other facilities. Reyna smiled. The ships they had revealed were just the beginning. Earth had used the time bought by the Phoenix's demonstration to accelerate its quantum vessel production. Soon, humanity would have an entire fleet of ships that could dance through space like cosmic ballet dancers. Send word to Earth Command, she ordered. Tell them Phase 1 is complete. It's time to show the galaxy what humanity can really do. The Phoenix's quantum core hummed softly, ready to continue rewriting the rules of what was possible. In the distance, the massive alien ships hung like monolithic reminders of the old way of thinking, a way that humanity had just proved wasn't the only path to the stars. 6 months after the Phoenix's historic demonstration, Earth had become the center of a technological revolution that rippled across the galaxy. The quantum shipyards in orbit around the moon gleamed with activity as new vessels took shape, each one carrying humanity's revolutionary drive system. Commander Reyna Patel, now Admiral Patel, stood in the observation deck of the newly completed Quantum Research Institute. Below her, representatives from 20 different alien species worked alongside human scientists, studying the principles that had changed everything. The latest test results are remarkable, Dr. Amara reported, joining her at the window. The Drachnid engineers finally understand why their traditional approach to space travel was holding them back. They're already modifying their ships to incorporate quantum threading. And what do they think of working with primitives? Reyna asked with a slight smile. They've stopped using that word entirely, Kai chuckled, entering with a holographic display of the latest quantum drive modifications. Apparently, discovering your entire understanding of physics needs revision encourages humility. The Phoenix, now a symbol of humanity's leap into the stars, was docked nearby. Its modest size still drew curious looks from alien visitors, who had trouble believing such a small vessel had changed the balance of power in the galaxy. Incoming transmission from the Galactic Council, Sophia announced from her station. The wall shifted to display the council chamber, where representatives from the major powers had gathered. Admiral Patel, Ambassador Tal's energy form pulsed warmly. The Council has completed its 6-month review of Earth's provisional status. The vote was unanimous. High Admiral Zorax, now Earth's strongest advocate among the Drachnids, stepped forward. Earth is hereby granted full membership in the Galactic Council, with all rights and responsibilities thereof. Furthermore, the Council officially recognizes the quantum displacement system as a revolutionary advancement in space travel technology. The chamber erupted in the various sounds and gestures that constituted applause across species. Earth had done more than earn a seat at the table, it had changed how the table itself was structured. "There's more," Security Chief Victor reported, reviewing the transmitted data. "They're proposing Earth as the location for the new Galactic Science Academy. Apparently, our unique perspective on technological development is considered valuable." Reyna thought back to that first encounter, when the Drachnid ships had surrounded the Phoenix, certain of their superiority. Now those same ships were being retrofitted with human-designed quantum systems, their crews learning that bigger wasn't always better. "Message from Earth Command," Sophia announced. "The first diplomatic quantum fleet is ready for launch. 10 ships, each carrying representatives to establish embassies across the galaxy." Through the window, Reyna watched as the ships took position. They were built on the Phoenix's design philosophy, elegant and efficient rather than massive and imposing. Each one represented humanity's approach to the cosmos, finding clever solutions rather than brute-forcing their way through problems. "You know what this means," Kai said, studying the quantum readings from the new ships. "Every major power in the galaxy will want our help developing their own quantum fleets. We'll be at the center of a technological renaissance." "That was always the goal," Reyna replied. "Not to dominate, but to innovate. To show the galaxy that progress doesn't always mean getting bigger or more powerful. Sometimes it means getting smarter, finding the elegant solution hidden in plain sight." As if to demonstrate her point, the diplomatic fleet engaged their quantum drives. Unlike the old method of space travel, with its dramatic distortions and energy flares, the ship simply winked out of existence, threading their way through the quantum fabric of space to emerge light-years away. Dr. Amara checked her readings. "The quantum network is expanding. Every jump our ships make helps map new quantum threads, making future navigation even more precise. We're not just traveling through space anymore, we're learning to understand it." The observation deck fell quiet as they watched more ships prepare for launch. Humanity had dreamed of the stars for centuries, imagining they would need to build massive vessels to conquer space. Instead, they had learned to work with it, to find the hidden paths between points that had always existed, waiting to be discovered. The Phoenix program was called impossible, Reyna mused. Too ambitious, too revolutionary, too different from how things had always been done. But that's humanity's greatest strength, we don't accept impossible. Outside, the stars beckoned, no longer distant points of light but destinations waiting to be reached. Earth's quantum ships would travel to them all, not as conquerors or primitives, but as innovators who had learned that sometimes the biggest revolutions come in the smallest packages. The galaxy would never be the same. And humanity was just getting started.